Okay, here we're going to actually find the slopes of some lines. Now, before we get started, I want us to kind of remember some things that we've talked about already. Remember that we always read things from the left to the right, just like we read, a book or anything else. So if I'm going to find the slope of this line, remember that as if things slope upwards from left to right, it should be a positive slope. If it moves from left to right down, it should be a negative slope. Well, we're going to see why that is as we go through these first two problems here. Okay, so they've given us a couple of points that we can use just so that they identify a couple to make it easier for us. If I'm going to move from the left to the right, I'm going to go from this point to this point. So in order to get there, I would have to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, and I would have to run 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So that is, remember, slope is rise over run. So rise over run would be 6 over 4. Now we should always simplify no matter what. So 2 will go into the numerator and the denominator. So that slope is actually 3/2. Now notice that is a positive number, which is exactly what we said it should be. Let's look at this one. Here we have 2 points, and we're going to move from the left to the right. We always move left to right. So in order to get from this point to this point, we actually have to rise down. We have to go down, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. That is going down 7 units. And then we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So in this case, our rise over our run would be -7 over 4. That is why we have a negative slope. We're moving in the negative direction down the y-axis. Here we're moving in the positive direction along the x direction. So you have to think about the direction also as you're listing out your slopes. Okay, let's try a couple more here. Here we have one. Again, we're going from this point to this point. Now it's a little hard to go left to right in this one because they're straight up and down. But that's okay. We're still going to do our rise over our run. So let's just go from the bottom to the top. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units to rise. But we don't run any. We don't go in the x direction any at all. So that would be a 0. What happens when we divide by 0? That's something that is undefined, isn't it? We should not ever divide by 0. So this is called an undefined slope. Let's look at this one, and then we'll talk about them again just real quickly. So again, I'm looking for the slope, which is rise over run. So to get from the left to the right, we would have to rise nothing, and we would run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. 0 over 6 is 0. So this is a 0 slope. It's not no slope. It's actually the number 0. Well, there's a couple of important things there. All vertical lines have a slope that is undefined. Horizontal lines have a slope that is 0 every time. The slope of 0 is more like our bunny slope. It's kind of equivalent to that in skiing. It's pretty flat so that you kind of get the idea of what's going on. The undefined slope is so steep that we really can't talk about it because it is just it's unfathomably steep. So be very careful with these two. You have to know these and you have to understand. And if you're given a slope that says that it's undefined, then that tells you automatically that it must be a vertical line. And if you're told that we have a slope that's 0, then we know automatically it must be a horizontal line because those are the only ones that do that.